Do you believe that Chilli slept with L.A. Reid?
Absolutely. I didn't believe it then because I didn't want to believe it. I loved my husband fiercely.
If you were around in 2013, you'd know the bomb TLC dropped in their biopic.
Does it bother you that I wear diamonds on my fingers and carry Chanel bags?
Excuse me?
I think your resentment is undermining your ability to follow my directions. I clearly told you girls not to be loose.
But I'm not.
I'm suspending you without pay.
What?
You're on probation, Missy. I don't want to see your face for a couple of days, understand? And then we'll see.
And the whole show it caused. That biopic revealed some of the most shocking things about Pebbles, L.A. Reid's ex-wife, and it was all anyone could talk about. L.A. Reid and Pebbles used to be the it couple in their time.
We have gotten to the point where we've got a love-struck L.A.
Yes.
And we are leaving Pebbles' apartment, driving home, writes a song in the car. What song is that?
Oh, that's great. Every Little Step. Every Little Step, Bobby Brown.
Right. Who knew?
That's that is my love song to Pebbles.
But what started as a dazzling love story ended in a tragic divorce. And boy, oh boy, did the film dig up old skeletons. From trashing L.A. Reid's place.
I opened the door, and there was Pebbles, never taking her eyes off me. She walked past me into the kitchen, grabbed a broom, and started shattering all of my glass furniture.
To breaking up with his girlfriend for him.
Next thing you know, Pebble leaves her husband, rents an apartment in your building, packs up the clothes of your stand-in girlfriend,
Right.
takes it back to her in Solar.
With Pebbles, there was no shortage of drama.
There's no boredom in Cray Cray.
Stay tuned as we dive into their messy relationship. The story starts with Antonio Marquise, a.k.a. L.A. Reid, in the 1980s, right when his music career was starting to take off. He joined the Ohio R&B band The Deal.
So we picked a couple of guys that we thought were really good, and we started the band The Deal. We went back to Indianapolis, where we sort of gotten kicked off the circuit. And I went to the club owner and I said, just give us a week. Give us 1 week in the club and I'll show you, because they lost confidence in us. In that week, I left something important out. The Deal was a Prince copy band.
With one of his mates, Kenneth Edmonds, who we all know as Babyface today. The two of them would later go on to establish LaFace Records along with Clive Davis in Atlanta. Anyway, the band hit it off and got their first taste of success with their 1988 hit, Two Occasions. This was when L.A. Reid first met Pebbles and instantly fell for her. The two of them were in for a crazy ride right from the get-go. In his memoir, Sing to Me, My Story of Making Music, Finding Magic, and Searching for Who's Next, L.A. Reid spilled the tea.
It certainly isn't designed to hurt anyone. It was really supposed to be me laughing at myself because of all of the blunders, and all those times I sort of hit the guardrail and had to bounce back. So that's a little bit of why I wrote it.
Apparently, L.A. Reid and his bandmate Babyface were both crushing on the same chick.
You and Babyface actually might have had a crush on the same girl.
Kind of more, not really.
And that chick was Perry Pebbles McKizzack.
Anyway, that lady was Pebbles.
Absolutely.
Right. And her and I became instant great friends. Like really instantly became great friends. It was many hours later that we fell in love, but we were great friends.
Fortunately, though, things never came to a head, and Babyface and him never had an issue over it.
He and I never in our entire career had an issue with liking the same girl.
But here's where things get interesting. You see, the very record that propelled Pebbles to the height of fame was actually never hers to begin with. In reality, the hit song Girlfriend, written and produced by L.A. Reid and Babyface, was promised to Vanessa Williams. In fact, it was L.A. Reid himself who had sealed that deal with Vanessa, with a handshake.
But you know what was fascinating to me was the song Girlfriend and how you had offered it to Vanessa Williams.
No, she actually bought it. She was buying it.
You said there was no exchange of money,
They didn't
though.
exchange the money. But
Okay.
It was a handshake.
It was a handshake. So you had
So as
sold
far as
it
I
by-
was concerned, it was Vanessa's record.
But as soon as they met Pebbles and heard her sing the song, they made up their minds. Girlfriend was made for Pebbles.
We met Pebbles. We went into the studio. We heard her voice. And Kenny said, Pebbles is Girlfriend. He said, that's who that song is. It's her. I said, well, we already made a deal with Vanessa. He said, you made a deal with Vanessa.
Once Pebbles heard the song, she stopped at nothing to get it. She paid a whopping $18,000 and offered 2 of her cars, a Mercedes and a Jaguar, to get her hands on that record.
She offered $18,000 in 2 cars.
Yeah.
I bet she did get that song.
She got the song and me.
Naturally, when Vanessa found out, she was pissed. The story goes that she refused to talk to L.A. for years after that incident.
She didn't. She really didn't. I think she may have said hi like 20 years later. Like, seriously. And it was like, oh, Vanessa, it wasn't me. But how was it not me from her vantage point? Right.
And you can't really blame her either, can you? In the end, Pebbles managed to snatch that banger from Vanessa and made it to the top of the billboards.
Girlfriend, very special song. It went worldwide. It was so huge for me. It really was the success of the song.
But the journey there wasn't exactly without its hitches. Specifically, the music wasn't exactly what she had envisioned.
I think I took, a 2-year break or something like that, and that's unusual. First of all, to be a debut artist and do great, and then sit still for 2 years and say, oh, I'm going to do something else for a minute here and just relax for once. And we took over a year to record this album. It's not an overnight thing, though. It's great that people love you, and I think that's what keeps me going. It's really nice when we can come here and all over the world, and people that don't even speak your own language are saying, girlfriend, giving you the benefit, and it's fun, it's exhilarating.
Saying the production company was not on the same page as her. She made no secret of how much she hated it and even went so far as to re-edit it on her own after it was finished. On the flip side, we had L.A. Reid, who was head over heels writing songs for his muse on the way back from her apartment.
Every little step, Bobby Brown. Right. That is my love song to Pebbles, 100%. And those words just poured out of me like crazy.
Being from the hood, L.A. Reid thought of Pebbles as someone way out of his league.
Because I really felt like that.
Really?
Because I felt like she was like a high caliber girl that I'd ever been around,
But in no time at all, the man had gotten hitched to the woman of his dreams. The couple exchanged vows in 1989, right after Pebbles finished up her debut album. But there was more to it than met the eye. As it turns out, they were having a secret rendezvous while Pebbles was still married to her second husband, and Reid had a girlfriend.
When did you fall in love with L.A.?
During that process. And I tried not to.
Why?
Because it just gets complicated, especially when you're working with someone. And I was with someone else at the time. Just not something I needed to necessarily be in. But you still try to keep things separate. But we became such good friends. And we had so much in common. And we spent so much time together working.
Once you fall in love with him because you were with somebody else, but you
Both of us
became
had
great friends.
Yeah.
So did you know that this was going to be your husband?
Not at all.
As if that wasn't crazy enough, L.A. recalled the day when he got a phone call from Pebbles asking him what he was up to. Reid was with Paula Abdul at the time, discussing a choreography for Babyface's solo album. He made some excuses to get off the phone, and the next thing you know,
I opened the door, and there was Pebbles, never taking her eyes off me. She walked past me into the kitchen, grabbed a broom, and started shattering all of my glass furniture.
After that traumatic experience,
you try to move on. You try to break up.
Yeah.
Before you go on tour.
Yeah.
Right?
But Pebbles wasn't ready to give up on him just yet.
Next thing you know, Pebble leaves her husband, rents an apartment in your building, packs up the clothes of your stand-in girlfriend, takes it back to her in Solar, and ends that relationship for you.
Yeah.
You still didn't see anything wrong.
Insane, right? Turns out, L.A. had a thing for women who were a bit unhinged. It kept things entertaining for him. Powerless to resist her, L.A. Reid ended up surrendering to her completely. And the rest is history. L.A., Babyface, and Pebbles decided to move to Atlanta around this time.
We get pregnant, we move from California to Georgia. All off of me saying we need to move to Georgia.
And that's when Pebbles decided to launch her own production company, Pebbatone, and record label, Sadie Records. Her goal was to start a girl group.
I woke up one day and said, L.A., I'm going to start a female group. He said, really? He's like, you got your record to do, this needs to happen to you. I said, I'm going to start a female group, and they're going to be huge. I make declarations like that, and then I see after. I remember Brenda and Lionel Richie were visiting us at the time. They were in a guest house. They came over for breakfast. And I said, hey, guess what, y'all? This morning I woke up and said, to them, I'm going to start a female group. Brenda looked at me and said, I'm sure you are, P. You know, Lon was like, okay, P, you know. Boom, boom, boom. I called another very close friend of mine. I make these declarations and then I get witnesses. And then I'm done with it. Now I'm going to go off and do it.
So she spread word around town that she was looking for young women who had a talent for singing.
Well, I also asked my hair person, I'm different. I go through the crevice. When I'm looking for something, I'm going to ask the person who's doing my nails. I'm going to ask the person. I might ask the department store clerk. I'm going to ask anybody I feel led to ask. My hair person, I said, do you know anybody that comes through the shop? I'm putting a word out. I'm developing a singing group. And if you know anyone that you want, you know, to come to the auditions, let me know.
It was during a hairstylist appointment that she found one of the girls she was looking for.
Out of saying that to her, T-Boz was a shampoo girl. Tion was a shampoo girl. This was Marie Davis was doing my hair at the time. Love Marie. And Marie said, well, there's this girl. I said, does anyone know how to sing? And she said, this girl, she does shampoo and some of the hair shows, and her name is Tion. I said, all right, well then, I was just that type of person that said, all right, I'm gonna check her out, because I'm checking everybody out, because I'm gonna form this group. And so when I did, Left Eye just happened to be connected to T-Boz because they were in another group with another girl called Second Nature is what I ended up finding, okay? And that's how we initially got together.
Before she even knew it, Pebbles was putting together, naming, styling, and finding the best producers, songwriters, and video directors for what would later become one of the most successful girl groups known to the world, the R&B hip-hop trio, TLC. The girls, T-Boz, Left Eye, and Chilli, were signed to Pebbles' production company and her husband and his partner's record label, LaFace. Things were going amazing for everyone involved, but little did Pebble know that her girl group would end up being the thing that unraveled her relationship. The drama started off as rumors about Pebbles exploiting the girls and leading them down the road to bankruptcy for personal gain.
Well, first of all, 10 million albums and how can we be broke? I can't go into everything right now, but trust me, you can sell 10 million albums and be broke if you have greedy people behind you.
Fast forward to 2013 when their biopic, Crazy, Sexy, Cool, the TLC story,
and that's ooh on the TLC tip. We're girls who stand up for ourselves, you know, we're positive, we're strong, and
We just keeping it real. We got a message, an attitude that people want to hear.
aired on VH1, and all hell broke loose. The girls held nothing back and revealed all the juicy details of how their finances were managed and how they were cheated out of millions of dollars worth of money.
Look at my boot that I got for you, Wendy. I don't do $25 on things. I'm a very generous person.
Oh.
That's a lie.
Oh. Okay.
A huge one.
When asked why she didn't speak up earlier,
I can only tell certain things because they're confidentiality agreements. There's all sorts of stuff happening.
according to Pebbles, none of the things the movie showed about her actions actually happened. She didn't personally handle their contract negotiations, denies paying the women only $25 a week at first, and insists she didn't kick Chilli out of the group.
Did you kick Chilli out of the group?
Absolutely not. T-Boz and Left Eye did.
Saying they didn't like Chilli dating producer Dallas Austin.
The two girls wanted Chilli out of the group
Period.
because Chilli was
Hands
fraternizing
down.
with the help.
They did not like it. They did not want it.
This is my first time hearing this
And
because
it is the
I
truth.
always heard that Chilli was kicked out of group because she slept with L.A. Reid.
The one thing the movie got right, Pebbles says,
I wore Chanel bags, yes.
You wore Chanel bags. Oh.
when TLC filed for bankruptcy, the drama took a toll on Pebbles and LA's marriage. It ended up leading to their divorce. Another big reason for their problems, which also had to do with TLC, was Pebbles thinking LA and Chilli were having an affair. Pebbles and her daughter Ashley Reid still insist on it being the truth to this day.
About what she said. She made a very particular statement that Chilli slept with L.A.
Ask
Reid.
me if I believe that.
Do you believe that Chilli slept with L.A. Reid?
Absolutely. I didn't believe it then because I didn't want to believe it. I loved my husband fiercely, and I loved them fiercely. They were like daughters to me. Bottom line, I don't have a reason to lie about that. I didn't believe it and wouldn't for years. But I have my reasons to say absolutely.
What reasons do you have?
I cannot tell you some of them.
Tell me one.
I just know it. It happened.
Was it something you saw? Was it just an intuition?
I saw some stuff, but it goes deeper than that. I won't tell it here. Listen, I've held it for 20 years.
Later on, Pebbles sued LaFace Records for $10 million, claiming they tried to lure TLC away from her production company. She also filed a $40 million defamation lawsuit against Viacom over their biopic. In her complaint, she objected to being portrayed. By 2018, they settled out of court, so there was no trial. The rest of the details are confidential. Despite all the drama happening with TLC, Pebbles managed to stay focused on her singing career. In 1995, she finally released her third album, Straight From My Heart. Unfortunately, it didn't come close to the success of her previous 2 albums. 2 years later, Pebbles seemed to have found God.
I am just as much the minister as I am the developer and the performer and all of these things. And I believe that my higher calling is to be able to use all of these gifts, cultivate people, not just from where I came, from the outside, but the inward side as well, into their dreams. I think it's a vehicle that's going to be used so that I can touch more lives.
She took on the name Sister Perry and went on to establish the Women of God Changing Lives Through Christ Ministries.
Women of God Changing Lives Through Christ is a ministry that the Lord spoke to me. And he said, "For this were you born." So he had given me my divine purpose of why I was brought here.
No matter what you've been told, you know Jesus is definitely Lord.
She ended up tying the knot for the 4th time with former Major League Basketball player Otis Nixon. But it seems like she just can't catch a break when it comes to marriage. Things didn't work out, and they split up 4 years later. After a 13-year break from music, Pebbles made a comeback, releasing her 4th studio album and her first gospel album, Prophetic Flows Volume 1 and 2, in 2008. These days, Pebbles' main focus is her journey with God.
You sing gospel now. Do you miss performing on that R&B stage?
Well, actually, I've been a minister for years now, but this is an assignment for me as well. I have not sang gospel in terms of putting out records. I have worship.
And sharing his message with others. Back in 2012, she decided to give marriage another shot. And you know how they say, the 5th time is the charm. She's been happily married for the past 10 years. Antonio L.A. Reid is now a big name in the music biz. Known for discovering and nurturing top talents.
Remembering auditions, remembering Usher's audition, or remembering Pink's audition, or the day I met Avril Lavigne, those things just really flow because those were moments when I met, artists that, for me were life-changing.
Maybe these two share a laugh about the old days over a glass of champagne at Hollywood parties, or maybe they stay 10 feet away from each other. That's it for today.